Cool. So this is everything that I'm doing as a narcissist to be extremely fucking productive and fucking successful. And this video is gonna trigger most people. So if you're into that, oh, you gotta be selfless and only care about others and not yourself thing, you gotta get off the video because like I'm gonna trigger most people with this. But it's fine. So let's fucking jump in. So, first of all, the entire world right now tells you that if you're focused on yourself, if you're, if you're a narcissist, this is bad and you're a bad person and you should be super selfless and humble and not put yourself on a pedestal and all of that. But I say that is complete fucking crap. Because if you want to be hyper successful, if you want to build something amazing, if you want to build an amazing business, a legacy for your family, for your clients, the people that you help, whatever, you have to genuinely believe in yourself like a fucking superhero. You have to believe in you have to be that flamboyant sort of character to just convince yourself and brainwash yourself into thinking that you can do everything essentially. And no matter what life throws at you, you can fucking grab life by the horn and you could just literally bash through everything. And so if you're in that state of I don't want people to think, if you're a fucking people pleaser and stuff, you have to fucking stop that. Because you got to understand only the narcissists actually truly win at a really high fucking level. Look at Steve Jobs. Look at Walt Disney. Look at Trump. The top level people in this life are narcissists. They integrate narcissism in a really good and clever way into whatever they're doing in their businesses, in their lives, in their relationships. They know how to clearly set boundaries. They know how to put themselves first. They know how to prioritize what they need to prioritize. They know how to protect their energy. See, everybody coined this term with like being a narcissist, especially in the whole like feminism thing with like men that are you know narcissists, whatever. But the thing is, that's a fucking superpower if you know how to use that. Now, most of my life, and I made a video about this, I was a fucking people pleaser. Like I was that guy that was just getting. I was the nice guy, right? I was the guy that was just allowing everything to happen, no fucking boundaries, no fucking balls, no nothing. But then I realized, like, if I'm actually wanting to build businesses, for example, when I started to really take off with the personal brand, I literally got people that I used to go to college with. I fucking dropped out, but like I got people that I used to go to college with literally DM me, shitting on what I was doing, being fucking jealous and hating and stuff like that. So I realized, like, dude, if you actually want to build a successful business, and especially with a personal brand where status and a lot of things come with that shit, you're gonna bother a lot of people. So you gotta be okay with that. You have to be okay with that. You have to literally look at yourself like the main fucking character. Okay? So I made a list in here with actual things I do because I think this is going to be fucking life changing, and a lot of people don't even talk about that because again it's this whole like you don't want to go into the dark side. Fuck that. You want to go into the dark side, and as a man and as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, there are a lot of dark things that you got to use your pain, you got to use your trauma, you got to integrate all of that into what you're doing. And really, this is shadow integration 101. You have to really embody the new identity of yourself that is so fucking dangerous and unapologetic and so authentic that they can do every fucking thing. It doesn't matter what happens, they can achieve whatever they want to achieve, because otherwise anything short of that is not going to allow you to crack the surface, right? Scratch the surface. Now, the first thing that I did in my life to really become productive. And when I say productive, I mean become a fucking killer, become unstoppable, become being able to film 10 videos, being able to have high energy, being able to sign $10,000, $15,000 clients, being able to build multi six figure businesses. The thing that I did at first was I rebranded this word narcissist, right? Because the stigma for this, it's, you know, you're bad, you're evil if you do this, you manipulate other people, but I rebranded this into self-focus. So instead of focusing on what everybody else is doing, right? I decided to focus on myself. I decided to allow myself the chance to truly put the spotlight on my needs, on my desires, on the things that I want to build. I stopped being a people pleaser, and I stopped looking at this idea of, you're a narcissist as a bad thing. And I told myself, no, you know what? It's not a bad thing to actually focus on yourself. That's what most people do. Most people never win, not because they're not talented, not because they don't have the skills, not because, they don't have they have everything they need. They're overly qualified. They do not win because they don't allow themselves to step into that role that, yes, might potentially bother some people. And they choose others. They choose the approval of others. They chase that. They chase that kind of validation instead of chasing their own fucking validation, which is wild to me. So the very first thing that I did is very interesting. I challenged that entire stigma of being a narcissist. And I told myself, like, you know what, bro? Like, I'm gonna be a narcissist. Okay, call me whatever. Call me the most arrogant. You know how many times I was called arrogant in my life? Because there were a lot of moments in my life where that's one thing that you can do as a narcissist, and something that I'm actually doing whenever I'm having a conversation, whether it's even with my old friends. And sometimes you have to be very careful with that. Even with my old friends, especially new people that I meet, this idea of like being humble and stuff. Fuck that. Sometimes, a lot of the times, what I'm doing is I might have a conversation and I'm talking about, someone might ask me. So it's like, how's it going with like your consulting business and your personal brand and everything that you're doing? And you know how many people think they want to take pride in what they're doing, but they don't have the fucking balls to do that. What I'm doing is literally a 180, and I'm going, yeah, it's going amazing. It's going fucking amazing. I'm the best in this. I make so much money. Like, everything is like, I attract the best fucking clients in the market. I'm the most amazing guy for building personal brands, by the way. Link is down below. Nobody else is doing this shit at this level. I'm amazing. I'm a fucking billionaire already. And I do that as a test to see how people react. Now, do I think I'm the best in the world and I'm perfect? To some degree, maybe. Yeah, definitely. But I do know that I constantly have things to learn. I do know that the learning never stops and I constantly have a next level to achieve. That's fine. There's nuances. Dumb people and broke people don't understand that shit because they are so attached to emotions, right? They're hyper emotional. What do you mean you're the best? Yeah, I'm the best, right? It's the whole Kanye thing. Like, who do you think you are? I told you who I think I was. I'm a god, right? It's the same thing. And so that's a test that I'm doing with people. Because based on their reactions, then I see their level of thinking. Because every single successful person believes in themselves way more than anybody else believes in them. Because in order to get people to, if you want to build a cult brand, if you want to build a tribe, you have to be the one that shows up for yourself before anybody else does. How else are you supposed to build a business, an audience? Do you think I built like an almost 200,000 audience on Instagram without like believing in myself? I believed in myself when I had like 50 followers. And my friends would ask me like, how's it going with the brand? And I was like, yeah, it's going fucking amazing. And that's how you test the level that the people, you test like how big or how small they think. Because people that think small are always going to be triggered by that. So people that genuinely think small are going to be super triggered by that. Like, what the fuck do you mean you're the best? Whatever. People that think big will congratulate you and will also get inspired by that. I remember this was 2 months ago, I think. I had a dinner in Cardiff with one of my mentors. He's a CEO, amazing guy. And we were at the steakhouse, and we were just having the most fucking fire conversation. And I literally went on this rant, and I told them like, yeah, I'm building these brands. It's fucking amazing. Like, I'm amazing. I genuinely believe I'm the most amazing guy in the space. And I could tell how inspired and how fired up he was. Now, mind you, he's in his like 50s. Like, he's way more ahead. Hyper successful. Hyper successful. He's a mentor. He's one of my best mentors. And everything that I was telling him was making sense, and he was so fired up. And that's because we think the same. So hyper successful people never shit on other people that are on their way or they're already successful, because they do understand the amount of fucking self-belief that is required for you to even scratch the surface. So they encourage you. So that's the thing. If you want to properly curate your friend group and the people that you hang around with, you have to do that test. You have to do that test, and you're going to see what you need to see. You're going to get, the feedback that you need to get. So the next thing, again, first thing, rebrand that entire term from, oh, I'm a narcissist, evil person, to self-focus. The second thing that I'm doing to this day, ruthless prioritization. It's literally me first and then everyone later. But it's me first. Because if you do not prioritize yourself, if you do not take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to help anyone else. You're going to do a half-assed job at it. So I prioritize myself in every single situation, with every single thing that I'm doing. I'm making sure I'm taking care of me first, because if I'm a fucking mess, I'm not going to be able to help you anyway. This goes with my clients, my relationships, my family, anybody. And I set boundaries. I set boundaries that are so tight that people even get uncomfortable. If someone asks me, for example, do you do like discounts and stuff? I'm like, no, I put myself first. The difference now is I know my value. I know my worth. And I'm not afraid to fucking show that. I'm not going to shy away from saying how amazing I am, because I know the amount of work and the amount of actual results that I'm producing for people in real time. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars that literally change people's lives. So I'm not going to shy away from that. I'm always going to prioritize my own needs first and set the actual boundaries that go with that. Because again, unless I do that, the whole mechanism and everything that I'm doing is going to be a mess. Now, another thing with this that you can do on a day-to-day basis, which I'm doing, is I've stopped answering messages that drain my energy and that induce a state that I do not want. Now, as a narcissist, you need to fucking do that if you want to be productive. If you actually, everybody talks about like locking in. If you actually want to lock in, you want to make sure that you deny and you block any sort of message, anything that is coming at you that doesn't match the energy that you're trying to get or you're trying to keep. The thing is, when I gotta drink some water because I'm fucking thirsty, but the thing is, with making a lot of money, with being successful, with building a brand, with building anything, you have to understand money and success and opportunities are attracted to high energy. So that means, as a fucking narcissist, you have to surround yourself with people that take your energy to the next level. You have to surround yourself with high energy at all times, and you have to induce that every single moment throughout every single day. And you have to therefore block any sort of like incoming source of negative energy, of low energy. So if someone drains my energy, I'm just not going to reply. If someone is in a low state, I'm just going to politely fucking decline. That's just what it is. And I was literally having this conversation earlier with one of my friends, and we're on the same page. And I told him, when people fucking bother you on WhatsApp, when they feel entitled to your attention as a fucking narcissist, again, you know what you fucking do? You don't turn read receipts, like that option, read receipts, off. You don't turn that off. No, no, no. You keep that on, and you intentionally, I'm big on this word, you intentionally reads that person's sort of message. You don't have to actually go through it. You make sure you go on that conversation so it tells them that you read the message, and then you archive the fucking conversation so you never see that shit again. If I would show you my archive on WhatsApp, it's fucking wild. But that's how I protect my energy. So if someone is super low, if I have no interest, that's what I'm going to do. Because it's me and then everyone. If I'm not, I put everyone, for most of my life, you got to understand, for most of my life, I was that guy that put everyone in front of him. And I just went all in for everyone else but myself. And that will fucking lead to self-destruction. And it will lead to a miserable life. So let's continue. The next thing, I curated my environment. Everything is about my actual energy. Again, you remove people, you remove content. Very important. You remove the content that drains you. So you have to be super aware of the things that you're actually consuming, because the things that you're feeding to your mind, that will be basically your entire ecosystem in your mind of thoughts, and that will be reflected in your day-to-day. So this is on a practical level. When I wake up, I don't check my phone. I have everything blocked. I don't do anything on my phone until 12:30 p.m. or even later in the day. I allow myself space. I curate, I intentionally design my environment for me to be able to win, for me to make it super easy to win and be productive and get my tasks done. I'm super intentional about it. And sometimes, look, you can even be called ruthless. Like, why don't you like pay attention? Why don't you like fuck that? Because now I'm protecting myself. Now I'm actually curating everything around me. And that's how you got to act. That's how you got to be if you actually want to be productive, if you actually want to be successful. Successful people don't spread themselves too thin for everybody. They curate their environment, and they're hyper specific and intentional with everything that they do. So that's what you got to do. You got to organize both your physical worlds, what you have around you, the people that you have around you, that, and also your digital world, the stuff that you consume. Don't allow yourself to consume all kinds of bullshit, right? To manipulate your mind. No. Be very mindful of the environment. Curate everything. Curate your feed. Curate your YouTube. Curate everything. Curate your Spotify playlist. If this is a song, this is literally how fucking intense I am with this. It's like, if a song drains my energy, I'm gonna take that shit out. I don't want to listen to that. If a song drains me, I'm gonna never listen to that. I'm only curating everything so that I optimize for really high energy, because high energy attracts opportunities. I want that feeling like I'm on cloud 9 every single second of the day. And in order for me to do that, I have to curate everything. And again, you might not resonate with this if you're not a narcissist, but welcome to my world. Now, another thing, you have to just be delusional and practice mirror gazing, mirror talking, and just shamelessly fucking hype yourself. Because let me tell you, there's no amount of stimulants, external things, external substances, videos, motivational videos, courses, there's no amount of any of that that can match your internal intrinsic motivation and hype. So what do I mean, first of all, by mirror gazing? You have to look yourself in the mirror. This is what I do every single day. And you have to put yourself on a pedestal. You have to tell yourself, I'm fucking amazing. I'm the best. You have to genuinely look yourself into your soul in the mirror and put yourself, elevate your identity, elevate your state. This is all about elevating your state. This is what it's all about. And most people, they live their day-to-day life without doing that, without connecting to who they are, without talking to themselves, without talking positively to themselves, and then therefore their entire internal state is a mess. They live in a really low frequency, and that is obviously reflected in day to day. That is their life, right? So you have to literally practice the most positive shit in the mirror, the most delusional thing. But that's the thing, that only works if you combine that with action. Because if you only talk to yourself in the mirror and then you go fucking eat Cheetos and not, and just not do anything, that's obviously not going to work, right? So you have to combine that and mash that with the fucking action. Now, another thing, I only choose work that feeds my ego. So my ego is huge and is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And again, this is a really nuanced topic that hyper emotional people and broke people are not going to get it. So you might have to scroll off the video. But I only say yes to clients and to projects and to opportunities that literally light me up, that literally make me feel like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing. So for me, it's either a fuck yes or a fuck no. It's either a fuck yeah, I'm in, let's fucking do this, this is amazing, or it's a fuck no. I don't want to work with any single person that is not sure, that is, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do any of that. I only want to work on stuff that feeds my energy and feeds my ego. Because again, this is the entire mechanism to be productive. And the thing with this is you also have to literally take a look at what your ego does for you in a really positive way. Because ego is super good, right? As long as you know how to use it. So ego is not only good, it's extremely necessary. It's the most the most high impact thing that you can have in your business, your ego. Because your ego will let you know the things that you genuinely have a burning passion for, and also drive, because sometimes it's not just about being passionate about things. But once you're in tune with the things that you genuinely fucking put your entire ego behind, and once you're actually super passionate about that, you have to lead with that, and you have to make sure you create something that allows that for you to make money. So that monetizes that specific talent or skill or thing that you do. So I only engage in projects and in work that feeds my ego. My clients feed my ego. Because I posted this on my channel. You can go look it up, like a testimonial with Zahib in Unlock Creators. That shit feeds my ego. It's the best thing ever. I want to work with clients. I want every one of my clients is going to be the number one personal brands, the number one authority in their niche, is going to be the most premium brand. Because that shit feeds my ego. And I use that as fuel. That combined with the high energy and with the extreme self-belief and narcissism can literally propel you and will propel you to a height that you've never even thought about. And everybody's like, oh, be humble. Yeah, be humble. Don't believe in yourself, and you're going to see where that leads you. Now, another thing, and I lost count. I never use the word victim. I never complain. So the thing is, victim for me is a banned fucking word, right? I literally wipe out, and I wrote it down. I wipe out the urge to play it small, to see obstacles in my way like a negative thing instead of a challenge to step up and to transform my identity. I stopped complaining to people that cannot help at all. I never fucking complain about anything right now. I deal with the shit and I use that as fuel to build everything that I'm building. So you might say, yeah, you need to talk. That's the thing. You need to talk to people. You need to express no bullshit. You need to talk about solutions while, yes, acknowledging that this is something that I'm feeling, but you don't identify yourself with those emotions, because all suffering is internal. And you have to talk to qualified people about potential solutions. Most of you, what you're doing, you're complaining to unqualified people about problems, not even like, you're not even talking about solutions. So if I'm struggling with something in my business, I'm going to share that sort of potential solution for that sort of bottleneck with someone that is already doing what I'm doing, might be even more ahead, because that's going to keep me in that high energy. Again, be super intentional with that. Be super intentional. And every setback, that's the thing. It's the hero sort of mind, the superhero mind. Every single setback, every single obstacle, every single bad negative stuff, I flip that and I look at that, I zoom out, and I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be an amazing story. This is gonna only make my character more overpowered, stronger than ever before. And it's gonna allow me to fucking propel myself to the next level. That's how I look at it. I stopped looking at things as like, oh my god, this is bad. No, nothing is bad. Everything is good. Everything is, it's the way it's supposed to happen so that I can become stronger. God doesn't he does, that's the thing. If you tell God, if you pray to God like, I want to be strong, I want to be rich, do you think everything is just going to be given to you like that? No, you're going to get challenges that allow you to prove that you're worthy of that and to build a skill set that is going to get you there. That's how life works. Now, we talked about this. We talked about you being delusional and everything. Um, but I want to touch on something really, really, two things in here actually. Before we go, the the first of these two things is this: you have to learn to fucking celebrate yourself. You have to celebrate your victories, celebrate your wins. I did that 2 weeks ago. I literally did that. I got all dressed up, nice suit, boom, super, super classy, I booked the cigar lounge all by myself. It was just me in that entire fucking cigar lounge. I posted that on my story. And I just did that because I had a good fucking week with good fucking results, with good work ethic. I had some downs as well, but again, I used that as positive. And I literally told myself, you know what? I'm just going to treat myself to this cigar. I'm just going to treat myself to this cigar. And that's literally what I did. And I celebrated that win because that week, because that gave me even more energy to keep going. And it reminded me of, this idea that life is not just about work, it's not just about growing your business and stuff. You have to also celebrate. You have to give yourself the credit. Most people don't do that because, again, I said it in the other video, it's this people pleasing mentality. It's like, oh, I don't want to give myself too much of a praise because that's going to bother people. Fuck all of that. Try to celebrate. Try to celebrate yourself. Take yourself out. Take yourself out. And you have to, with this, you have to learn to brag more, brag way more than apologizing. You have to brag more than you apologize. And it's this idea of like, ask for forgiveness rather than asking for permission. So always brag. Always fucking brag. Always dare to big yourself up. And then, yeah, sure, you can apologize if it really bothers some people. But for the most part, it doesn't fucking matter anyway. So go out and fucking celebrate. And this last thing that I want to touch on is this. You have to learn how to outsource every single energy vampire and energy draining task. So I have some tasks in my business that literally drain my energy and I absolutely fucking hate them. Now, I'm not at that point yet where I can outsource most of the things that I'm doing just because I want to have control right now over the quality of work. But now, for example, I have a virtual assistant that takes care of some really energy load, like energy draining tasks that I do not want to do because they're going to put me in a really low state. So as a narcissist, I think it's in my best interest to, again, protect my fucking energy, and then I pay someone to do that low task, to do that low energy task. Because being that's the thing, you have to be super self-involved and super self-obsessed with how important you are, because that is going to lead you to understand time is way more important than money. Time and energy and attention are way more important than money. You get money and then you outsource every bullshit thing so that you free yourself, so that you allow yourself the space to just fucking create and be in your highest state. And you need to be able to, as a business owner, I'm talking to the people that are running a business, you have to learn how to delegate those energy vampire tasks as much as you can. Remove yourself from all of that and give yourself the space to breathe and to operate on a really high level. That's what you got to do. And last but not least, I want to end with this. I think the world, I wrote it down here, I think the world just needs way more people that acts like they're the main fucking character. Start to walk through life with this aura, with this energy. And I said it before in other videos. When I walk into a room right now, that could be a room full of millionaires. It doesn't matter. When I walk into a room, I have an aura. Because that's what happens when you really operate at this really high, intense level. Because that's also a thing. When you become a narcissist and you prioritize yourself and you input boundaries and stuff, you're going to be called intense, you're going to be called weird, whatever, right? We're talking about people that want to be hyper successful. So if you want to be hyper successful, you have to look at yourself like you're him, like you are the main character. Like everything revolves around you. And when you operate on that level, you also combine that delusional self-belief with the undeniable competence in whatever you're building. I promise you, every single room that you step into will feel your aura. It doesn't matter. You could be dressed in the most retarded way. It doesn't matter. Every single room will feel your aura. And people will wonder, what is it about him? Like, who's this guy? And I love to do that. Whenever I step into, I'm literally delusional to the point where I look at myself and I'm like, yeah, this is like I'm in like a movie, right? Like I'm fucking Tom Cruise, like I'm Denzel. I'm Denzel in Training Day. That's how I walk. That's how I operate on a day-to-day basis. Because everything, you have to understand, everything is a simulation anyway. And if you want the true success, you have to understand everything is a simulation and everything is a game of the mind. And if you allow yourself, if you brainwash yourself into thinking you are successful already, you are that guy already, you have everything is going to flow to you. And this conversation that we just had here, hopefully you're still watching, was super high level. It was super high level. And only people that genuinely understand that life is a game and you got to play to win, only those people will literally integrate this and see results like crazy. But hyper emotional people are probably going to look at this and they're going to think, who's this asshole, right? But results speak for themselves. And that's the thing. You have to be a narcissist. You just have to. You have to look at yourself like the main character, and everything then will fall into place. So hopefully this made sense. If you have not been triggered by this, and if you just fuck with this entire style, drop a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one. This was fire.